a great interview for me because I often interview physicians and I often interview a lot of people who, are in different walks of life. But let me just tell you that I don't think I've ever interviewed, well, I'm going to call him a boat captain, but he's not. He's really the president of Century Boats. And for people who know Century Boats, that's very impressive. So welcome to our show, Skip. I mean, I'm so excited to talk to you because I live actually on the Intercoastal with the marina, right? I'm up in Boynton Beach. So I chose this because I love to look at the boats.
Nice. Well, I'm glad to be here, Anita. It's such a pleasure to meet you, and I love talking about boats, so this will be a fun time.
I'm sure you do. Well, I want to go way back in your history. What was your first recollection of being on a boat?
My grandfather. I had an uncle who owned a marina in Yorktown, Virginia, and my grandfather lived near that marina and had his boat there. So I remember going out on, I think it was a 34-foot wood sport fishing boat and had a ball on it. So that was my first recollection of boating.
And did they fish?
Yes, we fished primarily for flounder, and it was a lot of fun.
Right. Well, see, and kids love it. I mean, right now you go and you buy all these fancy toys, but you put a kid on a boat with a fishing rod, forget it. They're in heaven.
Right. On a pier, on a boat, on the beach, wherever. Fishing is a lot of fun for kids.
So Skip, tell everybody where you are now and what you're doing down there in Miami.
Sure. I'm on a 100-foot Broward, a yacht that I own, and it is a business asset. It's for a business called Club Yacht Charter that was founded about 3 years ago. It was based upon a concept I came up with when I was on a yacht charter at Capri in Italy, and I was sitting on an 80-foot boat parked next to a 225-foot yacht that goes for about $700,000 a week. And I said to myself, boy, wouldn't that be an amazing experience if I could somehow be on that boat. Now, even if I had the money to charter that for a week, I'm not sure that I would spend it. But I thought, wow, if I could just charter one cabin, wouldn't that be amazing to have one of the boat? Right. So that's where Club Yacht Charter was founded. We have 1,200 club members who are interested in chartering, and 80% of them want to charter the entire boat. But there's a small population that wants to be able to hop on and just charter one cabin for a fifth of the cost of a regular week's of charter. So that's how we came up with that. And this boat is also utilized for my other business, which you mentioned earlier, Century Boats. So we have a large dealer network, and we make this boat available to our dealers to take clients out on once or twice a year. So it's proved to be a very useful asset. Right now, as you can see, there's wires hanging above me. The boat is in complete renovation. We call that a refit in the boating world. And it's been underway since September of 2018. And so it's a very long, arduous process, and it costs a lot of money, but it's going to be a beautiful boat once it's finished in about 45 days.
So it's in dry dock right now being worked on.
It's actually in the water in a covered shed in Miami, and it will be pulled out of the water for about a 2-week period towards the end of its stay here. But it's in the water today, and the AC's on, and it's functioning. It's just has a lot of work going on, as you may hear during this discussion.
So describe the boat to us. You said it's 100 feet. And tell us what the rooms are like. I guess can you tour us at all? I mean, I have no problem, but I guess you can't. Not yet. We'll have you come back later and we'll do it, okay?
I will provide some renderings of what the boat will look like and the layout. So it has 5 cabins. Usually a boat of this size has 4, but we converted part of the galley, the kitchen, which was a country kitchen, into another master stateroom. And that's right behind me underneath the helm area. So the boat has been uniquely configured to set up for this club in that it is available for a large family, obviously with the 5 cabins, but it also could have 5 different couples. And so we have 7 different dining areas dining options. We have different areas for them to hang out in. We have 2 hot tubs, not 1, but 2, so that individual couples can be in one tub and others in the other. So it's uniquely configured. That's why the boat's been in refit for such a long period of time. But it's going to be beautiful. We've changed the entire layout, configuration, added a stateroom, added the 2 hot tubs. We'll have a swim platform. We'll carry 2 tenders. We'll actually tow 1, and we'll carry 1 on a swim platform. So it'll be a unique operating asset once it's finished.
What's the name of the Club Yacht Charter? The name of the
name of the boat is A Place in the Sun, after a Pablo Cruz song that my wife and I like quite a bit.
Oh.
And Club Yacht Charter is obviously a yacht charter business that is a club with a lot of members.
Isn't that lovely? Well, so that's a good selling point. So if someone wants to buy a dealership with, with Century, that's a little bit of a asset.
That's right.
Yeah, that's fabulous. I'm very thrilled. This is more than I had thought that you did, but you have a very interesting career. You now are president. How long have you been president of Century? Is that something new?
Yeah, so maybe I give a little bit of context. I started my career off as a 4th-generation shipbuilder at Newport News Shipbuilding. And I received a finance degree from Old Dominion, but my father, who also worked at the shipyard, and his father both ran the shipyard for periods of time, suggested if I wanted to go into a corporate business, to go to the production floor first. So I started off as a construction supervisor on a 688 class submarine in the torpedo room, ballast tanks, and the first vertical launch cruise missile system, construction and testing. So I spent 3 years on that submarine. I went to sea trial with it, went to test depth, got to drive it. It was an amazing experience. But I finished up my MBA at the same time, and I went on to successive aerospace and defense finance roles, ultimately ended up in private equity, where I bought and sold companies. So
Skip, I'm sitting here. I wish we were together, because you see, I'd be going up and down on my chair. That is just incredible. First of all, the fact that you got onto a submarine and did that. I mean, you are really amazing. No, this is wonderful to have you. I know our viewers are just thrilled to death, because you are different, and you are, you are a workaholic. It's obvious, but you're passionate. That's what comes out with this.
That really was bred into me, both literally and figuratively. And I say figuratively because every time I walked through the gates of the shipyard, I had a hard hat on, and on that hat was my name. And that name meant a lot to people at the shipyard because of the heritage there. So I worked 150% harder than everybody else there to make sure that there was no nepotism assumed. And it really gave me a passion for that business, as well as I've taken that to every other business I've been involved in. I've said, what would someone who owns or has a life blood in this business, how would they perform? And that's what I've carried through to all my businesses over the years.
That's just terrific. I'm really very proud to have you on the show, and hopefully people are listening, even if they haven't been on a Century boat. Now they're going to know about Century boats, and we have a lot of people who are always looking to buy boats. In fact, we have the fabulous boat show up here in Palm Beach, in West Palm Beach, besides the one in Miami. Yeah, I'll never forget.
My favorite show.
The one up in Palm Beach?
Yes.
West Palm?
Yes, it's a great layout. It's easy to navigate around. It's not quite as many people. It's usually good weather at the end of March. So it's one of my favorite shows. That and the Monaco show have got to be the 2 favorites.
The Monaco show, right. I have a wonderful friend. Actually, he's here because he can't get back to Monaco because he was here on vacation and he can't fly in. They're wonderful, wonderful couple who've been living in Monaco many years. But I want to get back to my first big one was in Miami Beach. When I remember across from the Fontainebleau, it was like wall-to-wall boats. You could just walk on the boats. You didn't have to get into the water, right?
That's right. We have docked at that pier with this boat before, and then been able to walk across the street to the Fontainebleau to have fun in the nightclubs there, and it's a gorgeous spot.
Yeah, well, so this is a lot of fun for you, and you don't have a beard, you don't have a mustache. I always see captains with these beards. How does your wife like boats? I mean, in other words, before you married her, she had to like boats, didn't she? Uh-oh.
She had done a lot of boating, but she's definitely been a great partner along the way with
Right.
all the boating activities that we've done. We've done quite a bit of chartering to learn the business, and that's what allowed us to launch this venture, was our experiences on charter boats, what we liked and what we didn't like. And they were absolutely, along with our kids, the best vacations we ever took. So we wanted to expand the base of chartering to a group who normally couldn't afford it, and that's how we came up with this cabin charter idea. So if you can get on a yacht for a fifth of the cost, then it's a more affordable venture for you. And then once you get on one and get in a cabin, then ultimately as you grow and your income grows, you're able to make use of larger boats and having a boat all to yourself.
Tom Madden, who was a friend of both of ours, spoke highly of you, but he didn't tell me all this. I'm going to say, Tom, you left so much out. Well, the other thing I want to commit to you, we have a magazine called Boomer Times, and I have a lot of images on the cover, and I promise you, as soon as this is ready, we're going to put you on the cover. I have to do that. It's so exciting. What color? Is it just white? What do you have, colors or what?
The hull right now is yellow.
Oh, I love that.
A white structure. We'll send you some renderings of the boat. We also have some renderings in gold, which is Century's color. So we'll end up painting the hull probably a year from now or so. But for right now, we're focused on getting the boat out of the shipyard.
So I'm going to pose a very silly question to you, because so many people have pets and they want to take their pets on boats. What kind of what kind of accommodation would you have for a pet?
So that would depend on the situation. We are able to handle some pets on the boat.
Small. I'm talking about small pets.
Yes, we actually have a grand dog, we refer to it as. And not that we have grandkids yet, but we do have a grand dog. And he would be welcome on this boat.
Okay, and so you'd have a place for him to evacuate or whatever he had to do, right?
Yes.
You can't make him
have a lot of teak flooring, and we would set down, an artificial turf for him, and the boat goes in and out of ports. You're not out at sea the entire time on a charter, so he'd have the ability to go on land occasionally.
So how many people do you have to, who's the captain? How many people
Crew.
do you have to manage this, a crew?
We have a captain and 4 other crew. So we'll have a chef on board, a steward, and then an engineer and a deckhand. So that'll be, plus the captain, that'll be the 5 who take care of all of our guests. I
see. And where will they be able to pick the boat up? They'll have to come down to Miami? That's where it's going to be?
The boat goes on a circle itinerary. It goes down to the Caribbean starting in November. It participates in the Antigua Charter Yacht Show in early December. Yep. We went there on a reconnaissance mission last year and enjoyed Antigua quite a lot. So the boat will be back there this year. And then it'll cruise in the Caribbean for about 2 months till the end of February. Then it'll head out to the Bahamas. It'll be there till the end of May. And then it'll go slowly up the East Coast to the Hamptons for the fall, or for the late July and August.
That is so perfect. I mean, so you sound like you're a kid again. I mean, I know you have a big responsibility as being the CEO, president of Century Boats, but this gives you something to really play with, doesn't it? I know, I can see your smile. I just can tell.
Yes, it's very enjoyable. It's a lot of work. Believe me, having a boat in a shipyard for a year's period of time with all of the different decisions that need to be made, it's quite a undertaking. But it is a love that I have and have enjoyed. So we're just anxious to get the boat finished and get it into its intended purpose, which is having amazing vacations for our guests and club members.
Right, a place in the sun, huh?
Yes.
And tell me about your kids. Now, they must love to be on the boat. Or what are they? Boys, girls, what?
They do. We have two boys, both out of college, one married and one on his way to being married. And I hope he doesn't see this because that's a little but yeah, great boys, and they love boating for sure.
I was just going to say that. So you did with them what they did with you as a little kid.
That's right.
You know? And so you must like to fish because you fish on
Yes,
these
we love
Century
to fish.
boats.
Been out with many destinations all over the world doing sport fishing. Century is pretty much a sport fishing brand, and we have a boat at Century that is mainly built for fishing, but is also family friendly. So someone can take the boat out in the morning, do fishing with his buddies, with the gals, and then head back home, take the family out to dinner that evening. We're in the midst of creating a new product line that will be specifically tailored to hardcore fishermen. And the type of fishing I like to do is deep sea fishing on sport fishing boats. So we'll have a much larger boat that's tailor-made to those deep sea fishing areas in Mexico and the Bahamas, Caribbean, you know, across the Pacific. It'll be available for those types of uses.
Oh, so you thought of everything. So that's how you're working in Century boats, but with some new ideas too. I mean, you
That's
took
right.
over this, yeah, but I can see that because I did see. I think at the moment, 26 foot is probably the largest one that
We
you
have
have,
a
or something
32,
like that. Oh, you
and
have a 32.
we're introducing a 42. That's the
I
one
was
I was
just going to
referring
say, you must. That's right. You must have something like that now for the big.
Right.
Well, that is very exciting stuff, and you know, there's nothing like fresh fish. I have to tell you, it really is. Let me see. So I guess the thing that I really need to ask you about is, in your long career, what have been some of the scariest things that have ever happened on a boat with you?
Hmm.
I mean, you know, there are
I don't
things.
know about scary. I haven't really had many scary experiences. I did have my first boat was a 14-foot Larson that was docked next to a condominium on the Elizabeth River. And I lost a line overboard when we were out in the boat in the bay. And when I came back, I could only connect two lines to the dock, one on the stern and one on the opposite bow. And there were a lot of tugboats that went back and forth along the Elizabeth River. And one day I walked out and my boat was gone. And I was like,
Really?
oh my gosh, what happened? And apparently a big, deep wake wave came through, tipped the boat over, and it sank. So that was my
Your boat sank?
It sank
Sitting
right
there?
to the bottom of the Elizabeth River. 14 foot. It was not worth even bringing back up. It was a very inexpensive used boat, but it was something that taught me a lot about boating. Is hey, you got to be really careful. There's safety involved with a boat, and so ever since then, I've really been cognizant of making sure everything's tied down, making sure that we have all the right safety equipment on board, and you know, sending out a plan of where we're going to go on the boat before we leave. So I think safety is a huge importance in boating.
And I noticed as I walked down on the docks, I walk my dog and I walk along the docks and all the boats are there. And I'm always impressed about the way that the lines are roped around, carefully done, they're beautiful. And so that's what they maybe didn't have happen what you did, but they're just being cautious.
Exactly. Yes. There's a certain way to tie a boat up to make sure that it's safe, that when there's a high tide, it doesn't snap the lines. So it's important to understand those things if you're going to be a boat owner. At
And
Century, we have boats that are specifically tailored for safety because they're a little bit heavier, they're wider, and they're going to be a safe boat in deep offshore waters, 30, 40, 60 miles out. So that's how we've specifically designed those boats. And one of the things that attracted me to the company, I mentioned that I had bought and sold a lot of companies when I was in private equity, where I ultimately bought and sold 4 different large businesses over an 8-year period. At the end of that period, I semi-retired and created an investment bank called Anchors Away Capital. And
Oh
it
yeah,
does
I love the name
consulting.
Anchors Away. I was going to ask you about that. Perfect.
It does consulting and investment banking. So we'll help raise capital, we'll help buy or sell, or we'll come in and help improve the performance of the business. So Century was a client of mine for about a year and a half, and I became so enamored with the business that I ended up raising a fund and brought in investors, and we bought a controlling interest in the business. And then 3 weeks later, we bought another boat business called Vanquish Boats. And we combined the two, merged them, and we have two product lines now. The Century boat is a friendly, a fishing-friendly boat that is also adaptable to the family, whereas the Coronado boat, what we renamed the Vanquish acquisition, is a family-friendly boat that's also capable of fishing. So they're a great complement to each other.
So you do now have a little bit for everybody. I mean, that's
right.
what you tried to figure that out. When you're, I was thinking about the fishing part of this. When I walk and I see the boats, some of them have huge, I would call them staircases that go up with another
The
deck, I
fishing
guess.
tower, right.
Yeah, the tower. And is that, so they're fishing from the tower, or are they fishing from downstairs, or they just need to see where the fish are? I'm sorry.
Basically for visibility and for
Ah.
steering the boat. So all the fishing's done down in the cockpit. There's a fighting chair typically, or 3 fighting chairs there, and all the rods are down there. They have something called outriggers, which stretch the bait out so they can have 5 or 6 lines going at once. And then the captain sits way up in the tower, and he's scouring where the fish are, where the birds are that signify fish. And then he's able to maneuver the boat when a fish ends up being hooked. He can back the boat up, or he can see what's out there to be able to maneuver.
This is a science.
It is.
It
It's
is.
become even more of a science. There's now sonar on the boats, like in a submarine, that will identify where fish are. And they have all sorts of devices which will identify the bottom of wherever you are. They have drones now that will go out and look at further distances for the fish. So it's become very technical.
Oh my goodness. Yes, it
Fishery
is. It
is
is.
in the process of creating a fishing team. So we have on our Facebook page a request to identify people who might be good influencers for us and be part of a fishing team. And so that fishing team will ultimately have a Century boat and will compete in tournaments, and we'll utilize a lot of that technology to try to win when we fish.
And so if they go on Facebook, would they go Century Boats? What's the Facebook name?
Yes, Century boats, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. Are your kids involved in this now too?
No, they're really not. They're both bankers, and in Dallas and in various other up in New York and in Dallas, but they like to do boating for pleasure, not so much.
It's just a matter of time, Skip. Just like you.
Sucked in, just like I did.
Right. Well, Skip Sorenson, who is the CEO of Century Boats and so many other things, and now the boat, it's called A Place in the Sun, and this is the most wonderful, I haven't seen it yet, but I can tell, a Club Yacht Charter, and we're going to see more of this. And gee, it was wonderful having you on, Skip. This went very fast, but I'm very excited, so sometime I'm going to have to see your boat.
Absolutely.
I hate to call it a boat. It's a yacht. It's not a.
Well,
Before you leave, what's the difference in a yacht and a boat, please?
It's usually just size. So
okay, so what's the size?
80 foot and above is considered a yacht, but
okay.
if you have a 50-foot boat or a 25-foot boat that you put a lot of time and attention into, that's
it's a
your
yacht. That's right.
So, there are 300-foot boats that we call, or yachts that we call boats, and they ride on other ships when they go across the Atlantic Ocean. 250-foot boat can ride on a ship. So I consider, you can use them interchangeably.
I see. Thank you so much again, and I look forward to doing more things with you, Skip.
Yes, Anita, it's been great. We do have a customer center and museum that we're creating at Century headquarters.
Okay.
In September, we're going to have a christening party for the museum, because Century's a 100-year-old company, and we have a lot of different boats to display. And so we'd love to have you come join us at that christening.
That's fine. I'll be there. Just let me know, and I'm coming. Thank you, Skip, so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Nice to meet
Bye.
you. Thank you.
Okay, bye.